This poem is called Erin and Breathing. I had my first panic attack in a parking lot at Starbucks at 17. She held me between gasps of air with one hand, while the other hand clutched a phone synced with 911. When I told her my airway felt like a boa constrictor simultaneously squeezing around a small stone and an avalanche of thoughts I couldn't breathe out, or maybe it was in. She synced her breath with a drumbeat my heart never learned to play of calm and simple melodies. Told me, breathe air in, breathe air out, breathe air in. That was almost a year ago, back when those words would calm me down, dripping down my snake-scale throat like my ice cream always melted when she took me out on dates because I ate too slow. I was just trying to save the moment that didn't have enough patience for me. Truth be told, to me, those words were not just sticky, sweet directions. Those words calm me down because Erin is her name. Erin is a beautiful name for those of us who struggle to breathe. When I thought of Erin, I thought of a cool breeze right before the light drizzle of rain before the storm. But with her, it wasn't a bad storm. It was a cuddle up under your thickest blanket and open a window. Who cares about getting wet? Why take showers but run from raindrops and listen to a calm most people only hear as a storm? Eventually, we went into Starbucks, and she ordered a drink, and I ordered nothing, and I tutored her in a class she had already failed, and I never had to take most of our life together. It was like this. Everything was pollution to her. A raised voice, disappointment, any emotion at all, sentences that were too long, blame that was rightfully placed. My personality was a smog she needed to filter. I stifled all of my emotions just to change the direction of her wind. I needed to keep breathing Erin. The problem was, breathing Erin was more like bubbles than like breath. I could never get more in than in gasps. I pretended she was a fresh day with a cool breeze. But she was an oxygen supply that turned itself off just before I was ready to take my own breath. That is a horrible thing to say. Her mother breathes on an oxygen supply. The metaphor here is not that a cigarette took her breath away. The metaphor here is that a smoker's daughter became my cigarette. I'm not quite sure if I am a light or the match. Touched by my pollutant of a personality, she would just leave. When Erin went out, there was no air left to take in. I choked on her silence when gasping for air. She blamed me for breathing in instead of taking the blame for being the smoke. They say you can't change the direction of the wind. You can only adjust the sails. I adjusted all of my sails. I even tried to be a rowboat in the sea of my own salt. In my case, you cannot change the direction of the wind, and you cannot blame it for blowing either. Leaving her was a longer type of panic attack. Most panic attacks last for an average of 30 minutes. But how do I breathe for 30 days with no Erin before the panic is even projected to peak? I want to call her and tell her I'm still breathing. I want her to smile and say, I'm doing a good job. I want to earn a breath of fresh air. But she is not a breath of fresh air, and my human capacity to feel and need is not pollution. Geez, cigarette smoke creeped down my boa constrictor throat to squeeze the life out of me, fill my lungs with everything I didn't need. But tell my brain, oh God, I needed it. She poisoned my insides against me, made me sample withdrawal when I asked her to treat me differently. She served a faux purpose to avoid the responsibility of taking care of me. For a while, I believed I cared enough for the both of us. She is the pollution, and I am not the cleanest of air. I'm trying. one day I will find someone who wants to breathe in me as much as I would love to breathe in them. When you're having a panic attack, you remember the need to breathe. On my last panic attack, I learned that I could be my own air.